Hey, Keller. Right, guys, I've had to restart the stream because the previous one crashed out. If you're tuning into this stream and this is the first you're seeing of it, I am doing some sculpting, but Keller on the stream at the moment is talking about setting up a Kickstarter. Asked for a little bit of advice, so we're just having a look at some of the current Kickstarters that are running. Basically trying to suss out what's working and what's not, and why campaigns are succeeding. Some campaigns are succeeding where others are failing. So it's a little bit of a kind of an assessment, if you like, of the current state of Kickstarters at the moment. We've had a look at a few that are not doing so well. We're going to have a look at one that is doing well, which is this one by Asgard Rising, Harbour and Market, 5,500. Now it does show that they're like 5,000% funded or something like that, but obviously they've set like a £100 goal or £86 goal, so they're going to have a massive percentage of funding. Again, 124 backers is, you know, respectable amount for a kind of a Kickstarter. I did think it was going to be bigger, to be honest, because Asgard Rising have been around for a while and they've got a decent following, as far as I'm aware at least. And they've graphically presented everything, much like we did on Crystal Collapse. So they've taken all of the the text that they're putting into the project, and they've incorporated it into images. Now, once upon a time I was told not to do this because if you're not native English and you come to the page, the text is baked into the images. So if you're going to put the text into images, and I suggest you do, you need a website or a web page somewhere else, maybe on like something you're hosting elsewhere, that's got all of the text in a translatable format. So if somebody who's German goes on there, they'll see it and it will automatically correct and automatically translate for them. Don't worry about trying to put multiple languages onto your project page, because it will absolutely spam it out and make it really hard to get through. You are Rich. I'm just doing a little review for Keller about the different. Basically, he's looking at running a Kickstarter for some digital terrain and miniatures and stuff, and he's just asked for a little bit of advice. So we're just having a look at current Kickstarters that are running and doing a little bit of a critique on them to say what's working, what's not, and there's a couple of them that are doing pretty weak. I mean, if we come back to the home page here, we can see this one. I don't even know what this is. Handmade resin. That's not the right thing for what we're looking at, so we'll ignore that one. This one here, 34% funded with 17 days left. It's doing okay, £300, 9 backers with 17 days to go. I'd question whether that one's going to get across the line, but the offering is quite a difficult page to get through. There's a lot of text. The images are all renders. There's no photographs of printed miniatures or anything else. So there's, you know, I want a bit of colour in there. I want to see a little bit of something real, really, to kind of get me interested in it. And also all of the renders, there's very clear branding going on with like the Norse runes and the black backgrounds and stuff, but it doesn't feel interesting. Do you know what I mean? It feels like it's a bit too plain. So I think this one's suffering from a bit of branding, probably a lack of advertising. And obviously the creator may not have a massive following. They have done 4 Kickstarters previously, so you know they're building their audience. This one, 109% funded. It's again £400, but of a £371 goal. Now, if this was me, I'd have put a £10 goal on this just to get it across the line. First backer paves the way. And then anybody looking at it on the Kickstarter homepage, because you don't see how much they've funded, you just see the percentage. Anybody looking at it here goes, not 109% funded, they'll see like 1,000% funded, and you go, oh, that's all right. There's only 10 people who backed it, but it's still 1,000% funded. And if it's a private project, and it's all digitally sculpted and ready to go, you know, you've got nothing to lose, you might as well do it. This one over here is a sci-fi one. It's got like alien vibes coming through on it. It's 555% funded. It's doing pretty well. Two and a half, nearly £3,000. Again, with a 500 quid goal, they could probably drop the goal a bit lower, and then it'll look better when they do fund. 111 backers on it. I mean, that's pretty respectable. Got the Void over here, 8 days left with 35% funded. Let's have a little look at this one, what's going on here. Why is this not done better? I mean, the render here, I'm struggling to make out what anything is. There's a lack of clarity in the render. So absolutely there is room for boosting the contrast and improving lighting on the individual figures. Yeah, same again. Looking at the renders here, there's nothing wrong with the sculpts particularly. The sculpts are pretty decent. Some of the details are a bit superficial, but you know, by and large, I'd say it should pass. The shields look pretty decent. Weapons are cool. I think it's a presentation issue, to be honest, on this one. These colour images should be up the top, so people are kind of seeing it straight away. Saving them to this far down the project, I think, is a mistake. And again, no prints being shown. I'd really like to see some actual physical printed miniatures, ideally some painted ones as well, but let's at least say, you know, you want to see prints of models. They're pretty decent, to be honest. I actually like the models. I like the stuff that's going on. I'm not a huge fan of like the big gangly arm aesthetic going on over here, but it's a style they've gone with. It's, you know, it's a choice, isn't it? These things remind me of like Castlevania, like the night creatures from Castlevania. There's a few more kind of stretch goals in there, which is good. Things from previous Kickstarters. Again, when you're buying into a Kickstarter, having the previous Kickstarters, if you've got them, is worthwhile putting in. So you always make sure you save sets of stuff to put back in there. These guys have got a bit of a Lord of the Rings ogre vibe going on, a little bit of Urukai coming through, I think. Pretty smart anyway, pretty cool. Renders on these are better than the ones in the rest of the project actually, so it'd be nice to have seen this style coming through, because that's more clear at a glance. I'm wondering if there's multiple sculptors here actually, or multiple people involved in it, because I'm seeing what looks like a few different styles kicking in. These ones, for example, I'd almost certainly say they're done by somebody different. Just because of the scale of the detail and the texture being used. But yeah, anyway, these guys have underfunded at the moment, so they're struggling to hit this £865 goal. 11 backers and 8 days to go. Personally, I think I would yank this project and then get some prints done, redo my renders, and relaunch that one. This isn't a great time of year to be running Kickstarters either, so any Kickstarters running right now, they're going to be suffering from the old sorry guys, I spent all my money at Christmas and I'm skint through January symptom. So yeah, I've launched many Kickstarters like towards the end of February, and they've always done quite well. So, you know, 24th, 25th of February kind of thing. It's been a good time for me. Yeah, that's fine. Just like I said, just avoid the holidays, mate. Just keep it away from Thanksgiving. Keep it away from Christmas. Just make sure you don't stumble into a kind of a major holiday that's a big expense. And also the summer, you know, people are away for summer holidays and stuff. Although us nerds are probably spending our money on models and games and stuff anyway, so you can't afford holidays. You're probably all right. But yeah, just try and steer clear of postings so that the Kickstarter either starts or ends during the Christmas season or the holiday season. And again, we looked at Asgard Rising here, 6,000% funded, but when you look into it, actually, 124 backers. We had another one that had 111 backers, and they were like 109% funded. So this is down to where you've set your goal. They've set the goal at £86. And obviously on this page, when you look at it, it looks better. 6,000% funded looks far more impressive, doesn't it? It's going to draw people in. 2 days left. They've obviously made a decent wedge of cash, like £5,500 on it. What are you saying, okay? Your scene has 3 phases: the graveyard as a level 1 encounter, an underground dungeon as a level 2 encounter, and another level 3 encounter. Do I post them all at the same time or make them separate Kickstarters? I mean, you could do either. Realistically speaking, what I would say is get your first one out. In fact, you know what? Do them as 3 separate things. Do them as 3 separate things, because if you try and keep your pricings under $30. So it's pocket money for people. They'll be more likely to pledge. You can have extras in there that are paid extras that they have to add on, but try and keep your base pledge level at about $30. Then when people come in, they can upscale the pledges and they can get involved and buy more stuff. When you do your second Kickstarter, what you'll find is the people who followed your first one, who purchased your first one, they'll come back in for number 2, or they'll at least see number 2. If they like the first one, they'll come back and get the second one. You'll also have more exposure through Kickstarter's homepage and stuff, and you'll have a background, have a reputation for fulfillment by this point, because you'll have delivered the first one. So get the first one shipped out to everybody, and then do the same with your third one. And each time you do one, you add the previous one as an upgrade, as an add-on. So people, when they come to buy the thing, they can buy the current Kickstarter at £30 or $30. And then they can also add the previous one that they missed for another $30. And then that way, instead of getting all of your stuff in one go and trying to get a higher wedge of cash for it, a larger wedge of cash, you break it down into 3 smaller chunks. You probably end up making more from the same customers and spacing it out over a longer time, so it gives you a bit more time to get things done. So that means you can focus in on your phase 1 release, your level 1 graveyard, get that focused and dialed in, release that, and then whilst it's running, you can be working on your next one and preparing the next one to go. So as long as you're not doing any physical fulfillment, you're only dealing with digital stuff, I would say, yeah, that's going to be the better way to run. Now with this one, again, jumping back onto Asgard Rising, the hero image on here is a fully painted depiction of the harbour. Now, something about that screams AI to me. And knowing the guy who runs Asgard Rising, I would not be surprised to find out that he is using AI in there. Especially when it comes to things like terrain and stuff. If you're seeing inconsistencies in the models and then there's a good chance that might be the case. Nothing I'm seeing at the moment screams that to me. It could be that they might have used AI to help render up the image and make it look like it's fully painted, because I'm not seeing other painted. In fact, I'm not seeing anything else that's been printed on here. It's all just renders. And again, probably could do better if they'd got some actual physical, like, printed stuff on display. So yeah, I suspect in this case, I think there's been a bit of AI involvement in the hero image to render that up in colour, make it look like it's like the face on this character over here, and some of the other bits over here are a bit muddy and a bit wishy-washy. So I think there probably is, give it a render, colour this up and present it nicely for me kind of situation. And again, use what works for you. You know, if you haven't got time to paint it, give it a go. Sling it into Midjourney and see what Midjourney does with it, or ChatGPT. Just try and avoid using it for the actual physical sculpts. So these ones usually do quite well. A bit of pin-up work going on. So we got 750 quid out of 430, 48 backers. Yeah, it's not bad going. Honestly, I'd have thought he'd done better there. Again, possibly it's all rendered up, isn't it? It's all done on digitally, so maybe again showing the models as physical prints, showing the actual supports and stuff like that would be advantageous in the campaign. Regular people, 398% funded. Like these, like your tavern patrons and stuff. I know these are like literally just regular people. Considering it's quite a niche and unusual thing that they've made, £2,000's not too bad going there actually. I was expecting tavern patrons and kind of like townsfolk and stuff like that, but no. We'll go over here. Fantasy Heroes from Fireforge, 537% funded. Again, £2,000 achieved, £371 set as a goal. The models are a little bit true scale for my liking. The faces are going to be hard to paint to actually make look convincing, I think. Some of this detailing is a little bit too small. The poses are a little bit flat, a bit wooden. Technically, the sculpts are nice. You know, the chainmail there, that's not going to work. That's all render, that is. Even these ones that look like miniatures, these are renders. They've got like a marble texture applied to them from like Keyshot or something like that. So it's a nice model. I like that one though. Bit of Final Fantasy Tactics actually is what I'm getting out of these. Technically nice. I'd like to see that one do a bit better actually, to be fair. I think a bit of actually physically having the models painted and showing them off properly I think would be advantageous. See, they've gone ultra detailed 3D character. That's not what anybody actually needs. So you can't say for use by tabletop gamers if they're 75mm there. They're painting pieces at that scale. So I think maybe it's an identity crisis in the project as part of the problem. But like I said, you know, they've nearly £2,000 on it. It's not to be sniffed at. This one's a bit dark. Again, this one could be really, really good. I'd like to, the models are beautiful. I'd like to see a bit more contrast in them. And absolutely, definitely some printed versions, because the hair and the fur textures concern me a little bit on these. All these little wispy bits going off all over the place. All these little tassels, bits. It's easy to put them onto a model, but trying to make sure that they print, that's a different case entirely. Ah, here we go, test prints. Good to see. That should be higher up. This wants to be at the top of the project. You want to see this well earlier. So yeah, some nice work in there. Good quality sculpts. If I had time to paint other people's stuff, I would absolutely back into that. There you go, RNS Studios. These guys have got a bit of a following, obviously. That's scary. So RNS Studio, they've been around for donkey's years, they've done well. They've got a good following. Nearly $3,000 on this campaign. Something feels off with the sculpts though, I don't know what's going on with them. Their usual style's absent. I don't know what's going on with it. It's back here. Strange one, who knows? Oh, the bloody nuns are back. These ones annoy the hell out of me, man. Actually, it's not this person. This nuns thing comes around all the time, and they always seem to make a load of money. So if you want to make a quick buck on it, just do some like topless nuns, and you'll get some sales. Oh, just seen a little notification on here. It's Mr. Dave's birthday. So Dave, over at MS Paints, if you're watching, mate, if you're listening, happy birthday, my dude. I'll catch up later in the week. Yeah, this is just nuts. I always wonder who kind of sees that and thinks, do you know what, that's exactly what I need on my tabletop. So yeah, it's a weird time at the moment then. So none of the Kickstarters are performing exceptionally. The ones that should be, or the ones I would expect to be, are still like running low. This one looks like it's only just launched, 31 days to go, 88 backers, the grand funded. Pretty decent so far. What are they charging for the £8 early bird, 10 quid normal, 15 quid commercial? That's too cheap, man. So they've stuffed themselves here by going too cheap with the files. There we go. Pin up, 7 days left, 5,000% funded. Oh, still only £3,000 though. 138 backers. So yeah, anyway, the gist of it is, again, we want to see physical prints early in the campaign project so you can see them properly. Ideally painted ones. Some nice colour injection into the campaign to kind of make it attractive. We've got Elson in the stream, have we? How we doing, matey? Sorry guys, I must have scrolled up a little bit, so I've missed a few comments here. Rich saying AI to make the models or just the pictures. So I'm assuming we're talking about the Asgard Rising one. I mean, the guy's a bit of a wheeler dealer, having dealt with him in the past, so I wouldn't put it past him to be using AI for the models, or some of the, at least terrain pieces and things like that. I expect he will be one of the people who will adopt it into the workflow and it'll become part of his, part of their regular thing. The wood texture looks a little bit excessive on a lot of the stuff he's done on that campaign, so it may already be there, coming out in that. It doesn't look natural. And then the actual hero image on that project almost certainly is basically a render that's been coloured using AI, because it's made a bit of a mess of some of the detail. So either that, or because there's no other painted versions of it or anything anywhere in the project, so it looks like a painted model, but the fact that they haven't got any other pictures of those painted models anywhere is suspect to me. Lots of detail. Why do people add so much detail? They just do, mate. It's the reason I made the sculpting course, to try and educate people, to give them a bit of an insight into miniatures and what works and stuff. A lot of people don't paint their own models, they don't print their own models, and you know, they don't know the end product as a result, or they just don't give a shit, because historically the high detail things, I mean, you go into, like, you see these people who are championing these things, or they're selling these things, and they're marketing it as ultra levels of detail. Look at the amazing level of detail we got on these models, and it's the wrong way to go, because there is such a thing as too much, and you need to dial it back a little bit and be a little bit, I don't want to say cautious with it. You need to be conservative with the detail. You know, use it to make a statement and draw people's eye into it. But like, I always go on a basis of like 70-30 rule. So 70% of the model wants to be actually relatively flat and clean and straightforward. You know, have somewhere to paint, and yeah, 70% and 30%. So 30% of the model then is detail areas that draw your eye in. If you look at something that is just like 100% high detail everywhere, your brain's going to go into meltdown mode, and it just looks clunky and messy. If you have 70% of the areas are resting spaces where you can look at it and your eye's not kind of trying to interpret what the hell I'm looking at, and then you pick up those nice little bits, the 30% of the detail does like 90% of the work for you, because you know, you've got those small detail areas that, like your bat as an example, you've got the chain on the wing and you've got the face. The rest of it, the wings are simple, the body is like a straightforward body, and then you've got this, like, you've got these couple of little areas that draw your eye, and that's what you want really. You don't want these like massive, messy, kind of like high detail everywhere sculpts, because it's just of no kind of real, you know, impact. Look at this guy as an example. We've got the shirt here, which is a plain area. The, what do we call it? The torch holder on his back, a scabbard kind of thing. I'm keeping it simple and stylized. The hood is simple with the fur trim. A little bit of fur down here and some stitching. A little pocket and a buckle here for a little bit of a detailed draw to the middle of the model. And then we've got his face. You know, there's not loads and loads and loads of, you know, high detail areas, and it's better to keep it that way. Keep it simple, unless you're doing, you know, a 12-inch statuette kind of thing that is going to be like, you know, a massive, great big impressive feature piece. How are we doing today, Elston? This guy wrapped up and finished off by putting his torch in here, and we'll move on and start doing maybe the archer next. And Rich, how are you doing, matey? You keeping well? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Well, I don't know now. Like, who was it now? The do you remember Bedtime with the Bear? The bow selector, bear. I think it was him anyway. Remember, we used to have like Holly Willoughby had come round, and he'd getting all excited, and his little wang would pop up, and he'd be kind of going, Anne Widdecombe in a dress, Anne Widdecombe in a dress, Anne Widdecombe, and he'd be trying to like get rid of his dirty thoughts and thinking about Anne Widdecombe. You've moved to Nottingham, mate. How come? Thought you were a country boy. Are you frequenting Mr. Alex's Walk miniature store now? Best viewers? No, thank you. The best viewers are the ones who watch and talk to me. Not some bot that's gonna... Oh, have you still got your animal training thing going on then, or has that been parked for the move? You sound like me, mate. Avoiding people. My missus always says, "Oh, you're a miserable hermit, you are." I'm like, "You sound like it's a bad thing." Went to come to Christmas. Hey, dear man guy, how you doing? Dear man guy, sorry, not dear man guy. That just came across weird. How are you doing this morning anyway? I suppose you can, mate. Didn't have to help your missus out with it. I thought you were always kind of out feeding the horses and stuff, weren't you? Good stuff, Guy. What brings you to the stream today? Is it the music? Is it the sculpting? Is it my, as Elson said, my dulcet tones? Just come in and just reinforce that little line there. Buff that up. Ah, well, thank you very much. I mean, you're not wrong. Tell you what, I am just going to talk to you guys for a minute while I'm making a coffee. Because, stupidly, I forgot to make myself a brew before I started sculpting today. So this guy's pretty much finished off now. little bit more tattering and tattiness and stuff like that. So turn lazy mouse off. Oh, have you not? I mean, I don't know how many people do it online, to be fair, but I find it's a good way of me committing to do the work I'm supposed to be doing rather than getting distracted. So I do this for a living, and it's one of these things. It's very, very easy to, you know, start doing research and going onto like you know, social media, or start posting on my social media channels or making videos and whatever else, and then I don't get the actual sculpting work done that pays the bills. And I'm doing all this marketing and advertising business and whatever else, but the stuff that is going to sell and make money gets left by the wayside, which obviously is bad for business. So I stream some of my sculpts, and that way it's like, you know, 5-6 hours or whatever it is of time where I've committed to do the work I'm supposed to be doing. How about yourself? Are you into miniatures and like tabletop games and things like that? Proper nerd type territory, or is this completely like new and alien to you? Let's merge this down. Copy, we paste it over to the other guy. Come on, where are you? There. No, that's the one I've just done, isn't it? Where's the one I did yesterday? No, that was the one. So I'm losing my marbles here. Ah, 2D art, do you? What kind of 2D art do you do, Guy? Tell you what, my back's still hurting. When I started my stream today, I had Mabel sitting on my lap, and she was proper cosy and comfy, and I tried to crack on and do as much of the stream as I could without disturbing her. But then, like, she's not quite a lap dog, she's a bit too big for that. So I was like leaning forward, like having to reach over her, trying to get to my screen. But it's all a little bit uncomfortable beyond that point, should we say. So it ends up stretching itself. Oh, have you got a link you want to share, Guy? Put it up on screen and help showcase your work. Make sure we're consistent with what we're doing. Oops. That's okay. You share a YouTube channel with us, or any renders or whatever else, or if you're doing artwork, you want to get yourself on TikTok and Instagram. My feed is filled with artists posting like work in progress and little turnarounds of their work when they finish them and stuff like that. Can't get enough of it. Oh, what do you use? I don't know, man. Some of these art channels have got like, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers and stuff. And you start monetizing at that point. You earn money just by posting your content online. People don't have to buy it at that point. Ibis paint. I've not heard of that one. I think I tried, is it Krita or something like that? I used that at one point. GIMP, obviously. I've used GIMP a few times. And I use Clip Studio now if I'm doing anything. What's the other one that's free now? Sketchbook, is it? Adobe, is it Adobe Sketchbook? It used to be a paid app, but they made it free after a while. Ah, CapCut. I know CapCut, I've not used it. I know a few people who use it for their TikTok videos and stuff. I've been experimenting with some AI bits lately, trying to speed up video production. I was using Opus clips, and it kind of produces like a load of, you take a video, load it in, and it kind of creates a load of stuff and goes, these ones are the most have the highest probability of going viral. And yeah, unfortunately, the clips I loaded into YouTube were the worst, man. They're like the worst performing videos I've ever put up. So yeah, it's good for that. I have the lo-fi tracks, you can hear it in the background here. I have all the lo-fi music running in the background when I'm sculpting. I can listen to it all the time, man. That's super soothing. Right, let's knock these on there. Let's call these guys done. Let's do a render to send to Adam. Got a music you got on, Guy? What you're listening to normally? Snipping tool. Let's get the snipping tool up. Let's ping this over to Adam. We're going to come back down here, we're going to get back to this guy, we're going to go and take his torches, we're going to get rid of them. Yeah, it can't be a bit of rock. Yeah, me and my son watch loads of anime, so we have like the anime like theme tunes on our playlist. No idea what the hell's going on. They sound cool though. Right, next guy, we'll do a spearman with a hood up, I think. Oh, I didn't mean to duplicate, I meant to delete that one. Let's go to merge visible. Oh, do you know what, actually, let me save it because I was about to make a brew, weren't I? Right, I'm going to pop you guys on a BRB while I just get the kettle running because it's noisy as and I don't want to kind of deafen you with it. I'll be back in about 2 minutes, so do not go away, people. Put you on a BRB for a minute. Right guys, I'm back now. Almost out of coffee pods. I'm going to buy more. I buy them in job lot in bulk on Amazon, so like they have 100 pods at a time delivered normally. Right then, back to, here we go. I'm just going to come over here, we're going to load up, we're going to split off the ruler again. So we've got an archer to do, we've got the spearman, and we've got a clubber. And we're talking clubbers as in a guy running around with a big club, not go-go boots and glow sticks. What's that now? don't watch much anime, just the Ghibli movies. Do you know, I like the Ghibli movies. Me and the kids, well, I say, me and the kids, we've been trying to introduce my daughter to them. I think Spirited Away might be a bit hardcore for her. She's just turned 7. It's a bit of a wimp with things like that. So I think Spirited Away might freak her out. So we're trying to get her to watch Totoro and is it Ponyo and things like that. I think she'll enjoy them. My son loves it all. So we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist at the moment. We've done like Delicious in Dungeon. Nothing none of the weird like obscure ones. Just stuff that comes through on Netflix really. But I've not seen Ponyo. We discovered it the other day because we were talking. We saw a little video of a little girl, a little Chinese girl sitting there eating noodles at dinner table, and the mom says to her like, "Do you want to are you going to finish your noodles?" And the little girl turns around to the mom and goes, "Mom, be reasonable." And the mom's laughing about it and says like, "Where did you get that from?" And she says, "Oh, it's Totoro." She says, "May says it." Or someone says it to May. So my daughter's like piqued an interest in it, and she was like, "Oh well, let's go and watch this." So I found some trailers online, and I showed her the Totoro trailer, and she likes the look of it. And then we found the Ponyo one, and we showed her the Ponyo one, and she liked the look of that as well. Wasn't so keen on Howl's Moving Castle, but Spirited Away is epic. I love that one. Right, I think this guy I'm going to give put a hood up on. This will be the Spearman, I think. Yeah, I mean, she's a smart kid. She understands a lot, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like she's a little bit, what's the word now? I'd say soft. She's a bit delicate sometimes. So understanding it's not the issue. It's the whole what do we call it now? Like the scarier things, like in Spirited Away, you got like No Face and the spider guy and all that kind of stuff, and everything's a little bit kind of surreal and weird. So I think that stuff will freak her out a little bit. Have I just deleted his bloody t-shirt? Yeah, I have. Genius. Just sculpt it straight over the top. Hey Red Connor, how you doing? Do you know what, mate? It's not my design. They're commissions for Adam. So Adam's come up with the design on these. He wanted a Beauty and the Beast style Beastman. But you're right, they should definitely have a little bit of what's his name? Rocksteady and Bebop, isn't it? Was it Bebop, the one with the pig? Rocksteady was the rhino, weren't he? Okay, Ponyo isn't scary. No, I didn't get that from the trailer, to be honest. I thought she'd be alright with that one. But she likes to like a Disney movies and stuff. But things like, you know, Moana. She's fine with Moana, and then like you get to the end where they're confronting a big fire demon in the volcano, and then she gets a little bit kind of like, you know, a bit delicate about the big demon thing. She's fine though, I can't complain. She watches enough variety of things that she's not like, you know, she's not railroaded into like, you know, your typical kind of like girly, childish kind of awful TV that a lot of kids watch. Right, let's give him a bit of a fur mantle going on, I think. It is, yeah. Kids like what they like, don't they? I'm quite thankful with mine, to be fair. They are quite, they got like a good head on the shoulders. They're sensible about things. They're not kind of, what they call it, overly whimsical and distracted by things. So. Right, let's delete all of that. Close the holes. Do you have kids yourself then, Guy? How are you doing anyway today, Kana? I love them, man. I'm not a huge fan of other people's kids, but I love mine to death. They're awesome. Getting to that nice age as well now where they start, hey, you crazy, how you doing, mate? Yeah, my kids are getting to that age where they're starting to like participate in the hobbies things as well. So like all the miniature painting and sculpting and all of that kind of stuff that I do, they love it, you know. But Jacob's like a big fan of Crystal Collapse. He loves playing the game. Keeps trying to get his mates to play it, but they just don't get it because they're not on the same wavelength. How are we doing today, Sam? I was going to go and add a little bit of a fur trim to this. Yeah, same here, man. I was actually gutted when I went to college, because I went to college and did art, and I ended up leaving after a year because it wasn't what was sold to me. Do you know what I mean? I came through secondary school, got my A star in art, and I went to college, and I poured my heart and soul into a kind of a 15-hour painting for like my final piece at the end of the year. And I did all the graft, I did all the legwork, all of the evidence and everything else, and it's great to see. And a girl who was in my class, she walked into the room, grabbed a few materials, disappeared off to a D&T room. 45 minutes later, came back with a couple of sheets of acrylic, assembled them into like these 2 boxes, and then she got a shoe, a high-heeled shoe, took it to a D&T room, sawed the shoe in half, straight down the middle, like a Damien Hirst type thing. Painted one half of the shoe fluorescent yellow, one half fluorescent pink, and then put them in the 2 acrylic boxes, like side by side. Like sorry, toe to toe. Sorry. And she got top mark. She got A* for it. And she was in. She basically did like an hour's work. You're supposed to be building up to like this 15-hour like big final piece. And I was just like, the teachers were the kind of art teachers that absolutely love like the Tate Modern and all the crap they put in there. I can't stand it. I really can't be doing modern art. And I ended up having to bail on it then. I was like, you get scared to sleep alone, that you'd sleep on the in front of the couch on the floor. Well, you know, so I say, it's kids, innit? Got one of my son's mates. He gets scared to be on his own, so when he's like walking to school, he comes to our house in the morning, knocks at the door. He turns up with like out of breath every day, and it's because he doesn't like being on his own. So he sprints from his house to our house until he's got somebody to walk with. Bless him. No, I don't think you can be terrible at modern art stuff. You just have to be able to bullshit your way through, don't you? You know, you can do anything as long as you can give some kind of like BS explanation for it, and people will just like eat it up. I remember going to the Tate Modern years ago with college, and we went in. Was it Tate Modern actually, or was it? Might have been one in Oxford or Wolverhampton or something like that. Actually, it was a modern art museum anyway, and they had this exhibit on display, and it was like a new release, and the media were there, and there was loads of press around and huge crowds. We got into the room and we couldn't see anything. We were like, oh, we'll just come back to it later. And when we got back around, you can hear people going, oh, look at it, it's so profound, and you know, giving it all that. And we come back to the room later on, and there's like an A2 sized piece of blue acrylic on the wall, with a plaque saying "Work in Progress," and that was the title of the piece. And you know, when you're like, how much have they commissioned some person to do this, and they think it's acceptable to just put a piece of, like, you know, raw material essentially, isn't it, at that point, on a wall? It's like this stupid banana. Yeah, see, you know, you got to do something that's like, you know, meaningful. Not just kind of go, oh well, I've made this, you know, pile of potatoes. It's down to the viewer to ascribe it meaning. No, I don't buy that. Like I say, when the dude was commissioned to make a piece with a ton of cash notes, and he just submitted a blank canvas called "Take the money and run." Do you know, I ain't heard of that one, mate? But yeah, it's on the money, that one, isn't it? You can make 2D art, traditional and digital, 2D animation. You can sing pretty well and make mini clay things about the size of a line, but you've never made 3D stuff. The 3D stuff's easy, to be honest, and like the sculpting, the digital sculpting. Like I started sculpting 25 years ago, maybe, using like epoxy putties and clays and things. And the things I struggled with, and the things that pushed me to move from clay and putty into digital, is like, I think I was talking about this on the stream the other day. When I was doing like the clay work, I'm using epoxy putty, like Needle-type green stuff, which you mix the blue and the yellow bits together, get a green putty, and then you've got about an hour of working time before it goes like solid. And the problem is, you're working on such a small figure, and you make something and you sculpt a little bit, say you do a face, and you get the face and you go, right, happy with that, I've nailed it, I'm going to turn it around and start doing a little bit on the other side, right? So you go around the back of the head and you start doing hair or whatever, and then you turn the model around, you're like, I've just put my thumb straight in the middle of his nose, and you've just destroyed the face. So it's so easy to kill the work you've done, because it's like the put is so malleable for that 45 minutes to an hour where it's like workable. So what you end up doing is you end up doing 5 minutes work, say, be disciplined enough to say, right, I'm happy with that, I'm done. Then you park that, put it to one side, and you start on another one. And I'd have 10, 12 figures on the go at a time, and I'd be doing like 5 minutes work on each one, and jump over to the next one, use a bit of putty, next one. By the time you've got to the end of the last one, the first one's just about cured up enough that you can go back to it and do a little bit more. So you're basically progressing a single figure in like 5 minute increments with an hour in between, and it's like it's really hard. You've got to be really dedicated and really kind of like head in the game kind of thing to do it. And it's enjoyable. It's a nice skill. It's a nice relaxing thing, but you don't see progress very fast. Doing digital sculpting, I can finish one of these figures from scratch in like 3 hours, if I'm not, talking and chatting and going off on tangents or whatever. Just get my head in it and go, right, here's my concept, here's my model, let's sculpt it and go. And I've got streams where I've done a stream with a model, and it's taken 3 hours start to finish, and it's done. And you don't have to come away from it, so you don't have to stop working on it when you're happy with something. You just have to remember to save it so you don't crash and lose it. So you've also then got symmetry. So when you're sculpting 3D stuff, or digital stuff rather, I've got to stop saying 3D. Everybody says 3D, meaning digital. But obviously, clay is 3D, isn't it? So you talk about 3D sculpting. All sculpting's 3D. Do you know what? I'll share a story with you. I always used to get the same thing. So I used to get really kind of like paralysis around painting things and around doing something, right? Crazy, mate. It's taken a long time to get there. A lot of time and a lot of confidence to do it, and it's kind of a little bit about what I'm about to say, actually. One of the things that enable me to push through and get quicker with, not all 3D is digital, but all clay, all sculpture is 3D, if that makes sense. So all sculpting is 3D, whether you're dealing with digital sculpting or you're dealing with clay sculpting. But obviously not all art is what do you call it? Is 3D. Not all art is digital. But yeah, the thing that I found was there was a period in time when I was painting miniatures, right, and sculpting miniatures and everything else, right. I've had it in all areas I've touched and dabbled in, and the problem I've encountered is this paralysis of not being able to push on and do something, right. So you're worried you're going to mess it up and you're going to have to go back and do it again. And I've been there when I've gone to paint eyes on a model, and I've sat there for an hour staring at the model, trying to get the nerve up to try and paint the eyes. And then I put the paint on the brush, and I'm there kind of like trying to guide it in, and my hand's shaking, and you kind of go in, oh shit, I'm going to mess it up. Right, so when you get the paintbrush to the eye, the paint's dried on the tip of the brush and it doesn't paint. So there's this whole thing where you have to kind of get the confidence to kind of go and do it. And for me, the confidence came from knowing that I can correct mistakes. And one of the problems I always used to have was I always used to paint with mixed palettes. So I'd have a palette out, and I'd have all my colours would be mixed. And I'm colourblind as well, by the way. So like for me, particularly with like reds and greens and stuff, but when I paint layered colour, one of the things I struggle with is I can't see a gradient on red. I can't see the colour blends. I can see the red mass, but I can't really see the blends on it. So the problem I had was I would be painting, and if I don't finish the whole area of red, I'm painting and I'm applying new paint to the areas that are already wet. And I can see the wet and I can see the dry. And I'm trying to put the paint where I know it belongs, but I'm guessing, right? So I'm having to mix these tones. And then when I mix the next layer up, yeah. When I mix the next layer up, I've got to try and remember where I've put it, or use the wet areas of the paint as reference, and it's really difficult. And then if I go away from it and I come back another session, I've got to try and remix that tone of paint to be able to carry on where I was, otherwise it doesn't match. And then I would also have the same kind of thing where, like, I'll paint a face as an example, and then I'll do the eyes, and then I mess up the eyes, but the skin tone I've got on the cheeks and around the eye sockets is the skin tone that I've mixed up previously. And I'm trying to kind of figure out, I've got to remix that exact tone of skin to get it to blend back into the cheeks to cover up my mistake. And what I ended up doing was I ended up using a method of painting with glazing where I don't even mix paints anymore. So basically I overcame the issue. I figured out a way around it. So what I now do is I paint in glazes. So I'll put like the base tone down, and I'll glaze up to my mid-tone, and then I'll glaze up to my highlights, and I'll glaze in other colours over that, but I'm not mixing any paints. I'm using the neat colours and just using almost transparent glaze layers to kind of build up to the kind of the colour concentration I want for each layer. And sometimes when you're doing like whites or you're doing light colours, it's better to start with the lightest colour first, solid, and then glaze down, because the lighter colours and whites can go chalky. But I find it's a really quick method of doing it, and it means it's really forgiving as well. So if I mess up one layer, it doesn't matter, because the one layer is barely visible. You've got to put 5 or 6 layers in to get it to take. And you're dealing with like blends and highlights and shadows and stuff like that. And it's a really forgiving method of painting. But having that confidence in your skills that you know you can correct a mistake, that's where the key to speed and confidence comes from. Sculpting, I used to dread ZBrush crashing, or ZBrush does this thing. So like if you look up the top of my window here, you see this little orange block, and then there's all these black blocks next to it, right? So if I grab this orange block and I drag it all the way back, this is my undo bar, right? I can undo everything as far as that, right? It's deleted all of the undo steps prior to that point, and I used to panic like no one's business about that happening, because I'd be like, what if I make a mistake and I can't undo it? Yeah, I know. Save. And I'd be like, what if I lose my undo history and I can't go back, and I can't undo a mistake I make, right? And then for me, the speed really came when I realised that it doesn't matter if, oh shit, I've messed up my mesh. Do you know what I mean? I could undo it, or I can just correct it. And knowing that I can smooth it out and I can correct it and I can re-sculpt it and I can rebuild a mistake of any kind, you're not having that fear around it. You don't have that task paralysis that's going to stop you from going forwards with it. Yeah, exactly, mate. It's all about controlling the stress and controlling knowing that you've got control of the situation. But also, there's a psychological aspect to it all as well. So if you tell yourself that you're bad at something, you know, you're going to be bad at it. no two ways about it. If you are literally standing here saying, I am rubbish at this, I am rubbish at sculpting, I'd never be able to do that. The reality of it is that your brain is going to acknowledge the words that you're saying, and you are going to be rubbish at it. Like the last year and a half. So I went through like a really crappy couple of years. Exactly, okay, you got to do it, mate. I went through a really crappy couple of years where like everything was going wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. Lost loads of money, lost loads of followers online, loads of subscribers on the Patreon and stuff. Everything went to pot, right? And there was a whole load of like, there's a load of people involved, and people let me down and whatever else. But ultimately, the decisions that I made are the reasons that things happen. So people let me down because I allowed them to let me down. I put my eggs in their basket and allowed them to drop it. And it's realising things like that and taking the accountability for it. I've kind of had a little bit of a realisation with all these kind of things. And things are better now, you know what I mean? They're not perfect, but they're much better than they were. And I was talking to my mum actually, and she's into all this like manifesting and crystals and all this kind of stuff. And she basically says to me like, you know, have a look at manifesting. And I'm like, well, that's just hippie bullshit, isn't it? There's nothing in manifesting. And I watched a few videos, and the few videos I watched were like real hippy dippy kind of new age, you know, crystal ladies talking about the universe and all this kind of stuff, and it just sounded like nonsense. And I spoke to her about it, and she's like, just persevere with it. And then I watched a load of business podcasts, which I watch anyway. And what I realised was the guys in the business podcasts were actually talking about the exact same thing, but in a different way. So you've got all these manifestation gurus online, and they're basically saying, you know, positive affirmations, the universe, blah blah blah. The universe gives you what you expect and what you deserve and what you believe. So if you believe it, you're going to get it. So you got all this kind of stuff comes out, and then you start looking at these business gurus who have, you know, they're billionaires, millionaires. What's his name? Alex Hormozy, Stephen Bartlett, all these different people, right? Diary of a CEO. You listen to any of them, and they all do it. And it's like, whether they realise they're doing manifestation or not, there's something to be said for a positive mindset, right? So the one thing that they all agree, and whether they agree in the same format or not is immaterial. They all sing from the same hymn sheet. They all will tell you that if you believe that something is possible, it's possible, and you'll be able to do it. If you believe you can make $1 million, you'll be able to make $1 million. Right? And some of these guys, they've turned around and they said, right, we'll take all your money away from you. You're going to go out and you're going to do it again. Right? So you start with no contacts, you start with no money. Get $1 million again. I can't remember his name now. There's a really kind of like, you know, real brash American guy. I forget his name. I haven't seen him on my feeds for a while now, but he did exactly this. And he's quite a recognisable bloke, so he changed his appearance, dropped his phone, left his family, went off and did this thing, and he basically built himself back up with, like, literally from nothing, to make $1 million again. Anyway, the whole thing you'll find is like the mindset is critical. So if your brain is if you're telling your brain, or if you're verbalizing and you're saying that you're bad at something, or you can't do something, or you know, oh, you're skint, you've got no money and whatever else, then all of that stuff that you're putting out, you're creating that as a reality. Your brain will create it for you. You've got they call it the reticular activating system. So it's the thing that basically when you have this, when you're thinking about something or you believe something to be true, your brain shows you evidence of it. So you know, if you're like looking for your keys, right, you're focused in on finding keys. You might find other things, you might see other things, but the thing you're looking for is keys. If I say to you, right, when you're driving to work tomorrow, spot all the red cars, count all the red cars. Your brain's looking for the red cars. You're going to drive to work, you're going to find all of the red cars. If you get to work and then I say to you, how many blue cars did you see? You ain't got a clue. You weren't looking for the blue cars, you were looking for the red cars. And it's this same kind of principle. If you're thinking negatively, you're looking for the negatives, you're looking for that kind of that negativity around you and in your life and in your experiences. And in doing that, you're going to be missing all these positive opportunities and all these good things that you could be doing, because you don't believe that you're worthy of it, or you don't believe that you can do these things, or you know, whatever the case might be. You're going to be bypassing all of these things that can improve your life and make you feel better. And since I've joined the dots and realised this, I've tried to what's the word now? I've tried to kind of get on more with that kind of thing, like thinking positively about stuff. It's like I could tell you all the crap that went on in my business, in my life, the last few years, but actually, when I look back at it, there's no point in pointing fingers and blaming people. The decisions that led to it were mine. Other people led me to those decisions, or helped me make those decisions, or encouraged me to make those decisions. But if I was in a position where I was kind of like more confident in myself and more take charge, then I would have, I could have protected myself better, rather than going like all in and letting these kind of situations occur. So there are things to be said for kind of like taking accountability and kind of taking control of your own actions, and realise that like you're not a victim. Don't be a victim to anything. You know, picture what you want to be and where you want to be, and do everything you can to make that happen. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And that's with putting courses out, getting miniature lines made, doing commission work, making crystal collapse, all this kind of stuff. All of these kind of things, they're all working towards this end goal. And yeah, I would encourage you all to go and have a little look at some manifestation videos and kind of, get into that. It's CBT, basically. It's cognitive behavioural therapy. It's changing the way your brain thinks, changing the way you see the world around you to make sure that you can basically have a better attitude and a better environment. You manifest a ZBrush crash. I don't think it needs help with that, mate. ZBrush is a bitch at the rest of the time, so. Speaking of ZBrush, let's get some sculpting back on. They're talking hippy dippy stuff. Now I did think it was all like very hippie-ish and stuff like that. Like when my mum was telling me about it, I was like quite dismissive of the whole thing. But so when you realise that there's so many people who ascribe to it, whether they realise it or not, you've got to kind of look at it and go, actually, do you know what? There's legs here. Hopefully something sinks in and it helps, but I honestly genuinely do think I've been better for it in the last year or so. There's a woman on YouTube, if you want to watch her. I find her quite a good one. There's a guy called Brian Scott. He's got a mesmerising voice, Brian has. I quite like his manifestation videos. If I'm walking the dog, I'll have him. I tend to listen to him walking around the park and whatever. But there's a lady called Mary Kate. It's a MK Magic or MK Mindset or something like that. And she does some quite interesting videos. Yeah, Brian Scott and MK Magic, I think it is, or MK Magic Mindset or something. But look them up, right? Because they do these like videos about manifesting money and all this kind of stuff, and a lot of the videos are, if you can take it at face value if you believe that kind of things, or I'm a little bit too analytical to just believe this kind of stuff straight out. But I do believe in the science behind the things. Now Mary Kate talks to you in more of a she's a bit more realistic about things. She'll explain it using like neuroscience and stuff, which I find is an easier pill to swallow. But if you go and combine that with, there's the podcast, The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. If you watch some of his videos, and he deals with talking to all of these, he talks to all these like millionaire businessmen and stuff like that, and women, and kind of, you know, all these hedge fund managers and people who are, you know, they're all in these like massive high earning jobs, and, you know, entrepreneurs and whatever else. And he'll talk to them all. And honestly, if you listen to the manifesting videos first, and then you go back and listen to the like the CEOs and the MDs and the entrepreneurs and everything else talking about how they got to where they are, they're all manifesting. They're all doing it. They're all doing these like positive affirmations. They're convincing themselves that failure is not an option. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze in. They're convincing themselves that failure is not an option, that their success is guaranteed, and it's manifesting whichever way you look at it, basically. But you wouldn't know it was manifesting if you hadn't looked at manifesting first. That makes sense? You just think, God, this guy's driven. You know, how do I get like that? How do I do what he does? And the answer's simple, really. Do you know what I mean? But it's knowing it and doing it and living it are like totally different things. Well, here's one for you as well. One of the other things I'd always say in these videos is like, if you know, if you're surrounding yourself with the people you want to be like, you know, hang around people that you want to be, that you aspire to be like. Don't take advice from anybody who doesn't have what you want. You know, if you've got one of your mates who's like a broke pothead or whatever it is, starts giving you life advice, and you kind of think, actually, do you know what? I don't want to live like you. That's not what I want to be in life. Then don't take the advice. Yeah, and you don't need to be rich. Money's good for, you know, from a comfort point of view. It takes away some stresses. But being rich in itself will create stresses. No one's going to just be rich. You know what I mean? Unless you win the lottery, and the people who win the lottery don't have a rich mindset typically. So if you don't think rich, if you haven't got that kind of like that way of thinking that will naturally lead you to be, you know, rich, or it's going to put you in positions where you are. Like if you want to be a director of a business, be friends with, you know, or befriend people who are directors of businesses. Well, do you know what you need to do, mate? You need to come and join our Discord channel. Let me see if I've got the thing. Come join our Discord server, and there's always people in there to chat to, man. Now that's going to come up on Twitch, but not on anywhere else. So let's go post it straight to YouTube. Download it and jump on, man. It's good from a point of view of just like getting in touch with people and like knowing like people in the server and stuff. They're all people who are like artists and sculptors and miniature painters and stuff like that. So the app's free. So you download it, jump into the community. Anytime you're doing any of your work, you can post pictures of it. You know, even if you don't think it's relevant to the group, you can post them in the group. Ask for a bit of feedback or just engage people on it and have a little chat. But it's good to have like a line to people. Everybody in the group is like, they're into art in one form or another, physical or digital or 2D or 3D or whatever. Is that the one? It's good to have like a line to people. There we go. Everybody in the group is like, they're into. There we go. Yeah, so finding the right people is half the battle. Let's put a few rings on his arm, I think. Yeah, you'll always have that line to people who are in the streams and the chats and things, but today it's never quite as personal, is it, as having actual like one-to-one conversations with them and that. Do you know what, actually, let me come on, YouTube, sort yourself out. Oh God. Give you a sub, mate. There you go. Just sub to your channel, man. You're welcome. Right, back to the bracer. Let me give you a... There you go, man. You're a dear man, guy, or sub. Go for it, guy. That's cool, don't worry about it. Draw one yourself, man. Oops. I'll do that. Oh, nice. Do you know there's a place near us that we go to sometimes? I'll take the kids there, and it's called Chalcott Park. And when you get there, they have this. It's like a big manor house with huge grounds around it, and they've got their own. Is it a herd of deer? What do you call a group of deer? They've got that. They've got a big group of deer anyway. And there's this one big, huge white stag that's in charge of them. It's like the alpha. Massive. A band of deer. I always feel like you're trolling me, man, every time. Oh, you live in the woods? It's a herd. You get Chalcott Park here. It's in a flange of deer. On wrong answers only. What's it called? Have you been to this one, Sam? Chalcott. But they just have like literally just deer just strolling around. You can literally walk up to them. They're so used to seeing people around. But yeah, big beautiful manor house, just like that. Loads of lovely lands and grounds to walk around. Landscape gardens and everything. And then I'll say the old like Bambi type deers and stuff. Yeah, look. There's your alpha. The white stag. Oh, so you got a little family of them then? Yes. No worries, guys. It's just one of the little places I go to with the kids. Sorry, I didn't want to talk over the singing. Yeah, a lot of places they drop the antlers, don't they? They molt their antlers away at the end of every season, don't they, the deer? So you can find them on the floor and like kind of. I don't know, are you allowed to collect them or are they protected? I'm never sure. I sculpted some cultists a while back actually for a game called Coven. That's it's been parked. I don't know if it's going to come to fruit or not. I hope it will. It's got some really lovely artwork in it by a guy called John Wigley. Did all the artwork for Mordheim. The game's ace, but it's well, the artwork's ace. I haven't played the game. But they took it to Kickstarter and they ended up. They tried to do it where they were going to do like an art book and a rule book and then release the models afterwards. But all the cultists all had these kind of like big hoods on, and then they had like the big deer horns, the antlers rather. So I ended up having to sculpt this whole set of like antler wearing kind of cultists. Bit of a challenge. I don't know if you do 3D printing or if you're familiar with it, but like they can be quite finicky things to try and print. So all the different angles the antlers go off at. Ah, cool. I don't know. I mean, I know you can have like you can do like drinking horns, can't you? With like cow horns and stuff. But I don't know about like. I know I've seen Forged in Fire. They often used antlers for what do we call it now? They use the antlers for transparency goes for little tip. I don't know if you know this as a thing with ZBrush. If I want to try and sculpt behind these things, right? So if I want to sculpt here, and I want to put like a little strap here for the clip, right? For the ring. You see, it's gone weird and narrow in the middle, where it's pulled up by proxy, but it hasn't done it properly, right? So I undo that. If I put transparency mode on first and then sculpt, I get the same thing where you can sculpt. Have I got ghost mode on? It pulls through the thing, but if I put ghost mode on, you can sculpt straight through the model. No, away. Oh, it's just transparency on and then not ghost mode. You can sculpt through the rings, through the object, without actually the object interfering with what you're doing. Ah, do you know what it is? I need to isolate it and get the thing. Hang on, Crazy Jaws, hilts. Are we still talking about deer packs? Or a pack of deer? And dear man guy, you make lots of stories, some of them were attempts for world building stuff. Have you done much world building before? I don't know how much it costs, if anything, but there's sorry, I know it costs money, but I don't know if they've got a free version is what I mean, sorry. There is a program called Campfire, absolutely great for world building. When you're sculpting as well, sometimes you'll find you'll get interference from a physical object that's already on the model. And it can be like the arm behind the mesh, for example. Or it could be the ring that's sitting on the top. But when you try and sculpt on a particular mesh, the other meshes in its near proximity can cause interference with the brush and make it behave unusually. So sometimes when you're doing things like this, you want to isolate all of the external noise. There we go. That sounds cool, guy. I'm going to put a little bit of chainmail on this guy. Not loads. Because he's a warrior. Oh. Oh, sorry mate, I missed a couple of shit. Right, you did some research, learned about different types of bats. You had a higher level of map and then a lower level of map. Oh, right, like an overlay kind of thing. Or like a sky level and a ground level or something like that. Got Tears of the Kingdom. Is it brush I want? It's brush I want. Ah, my elbow's gone into spasm. Hang on a sec. Ow. Ah, cool. Like layered caves then. Oh, that's a bit big. Still too big. About right. Oh, you turd. Set my depth lower. small links. Sorry guys, keep chatting mate. I'm just in a zone at the moment doing chainmail. Promise I'll come back and pick up the messages in a minute. Yep. I know, killer. It's a pig in it. But, do you know what? I said the other day, the more you do it, the quicker it becomes. So just persevere with it. Yeah, go for it, dude. Right, do you know what? I am gonna I'm gonna take a quick rest break because my eyes are straining now. I'm just gonna run in the house and grab myself a quick sandwich. So, I'll pop you guys on a BRB. Do not go away. I'll be back shortly. Hopefully refreshed and ready to rock. Okay, so stick with me, peeps. Stick with me. Back in a minute. Hey guys, I'm back now. Let's come back to our model. Right, oh god, what do we do now? Sorry guys, I'm messing my interface up a little bit. Sorry, I thought I'd have some quick noodles while I was in the house. And I've got this chili oil that I'm addicted to. And I thought I'll put a bit in that in there. And now I can't feel my lips. bit too hardcore on the chili, I think. Silly mistakes, eh? Right, let's undo the stitching. We are back. Yeah, so I think I think I must have went when you were off, grabbing a drink. No, not material. I want brush. Chainmail again. What time is it there for you? You in the US? It's cold here as well, to be fair. Got the radiator running in my office. But I've got my print room here as well, so like if I, when I'm printing off client orders, I go into the print room because it's 3D printers. It's I have to maintain the temperature around about 26 degrees. So whenever I go in there, it's always proper toasty. So if it's freezing cold, I was just going to stand in the print room for a minute or two to warm myself up. Yeah, 7:20 in the morning. Well, you must be roughly about the same neck of the woods as Adam then, 'cause I think we normally have our sculpting sessions at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me. And it's 7 o'clock in the morning for him. I can't remember where he lives now. I know it's in the US, but... but I know he's at work today, so... You just get up really early then, Guy, or you are you up really late? got one rogue massive loop there, look. I'll leave it, it'll be fine. And poof, they're gone. Excuse me, the chili's playing havoc with my my nose and my throat at the moment. Nope, not that one. Yeah, it sucks that, doesn't it? You can't get back to sleep. After, as I've got older, I'll just sleep for anything I will. I've got to be careful now with I don't really do naps or anything anyway, but the other day I was working and I had like migraine start kicking in, and I had to stop what I was doing and have a little, like, turn the lights off and close my eyes and rest. And I had about an hour to go before I had to go and pick the kids up from school. And like, the whole time I'm just thinking, this is just asking for trouble. This is. Well, they say you need 90 minutes in a sleep cycle to make sure you can get adequate rest. If you wake up short of 90 minutes, you're not getting a full cycle, so it's of no benefit to you. So whatever you're sleeping and whatever time you're sleeping, you're going to try and time it so you've got like 90-minute cycles. So while lying in bed snoozing the alarm and having like a 10-minute snooze is absolutely redundant. Do you know what? Do you know what I tried to get rid of the headaches that worked really well? They're not prescription, but like I've got a pair of a pair of cheap glasses. They've got a blue light filter in them, and I used to get headaches all the time when I worked in an office. And I'm under like fluorescent light. I'm looking at screens all day and everything else. Same as yourself, I'm always having headaches. And I bought these little blue light filtering glasses. They've got a very slight yellow tinge to them, but honestly, it makes a world of difference when I'm working with like any screens or anything like that. I'm watching TV, put them on. Yeah, you don't want to be medicating yourself if you can help it, though, do you? I try and avoid the tablets and stuff unless it's an absolute critical case, do you know what I mean? I've done this the longest way I possibly could have. I could have just clipped it off and I'd have been fine. Why did I just carry on scrubbing it away with the trim dynamic tool? Buffoon. Yeah, I've just had my first pair of actual prescription glasses and they're messing my head up if I'm honest. I need to go back and get them looked at because there's something ain't right with these glasses. They're weird, man. Like they literally distort my vision. Like everything at the top of the glasses that I look at is wider. Everything at the bottom's narrower. But they're not varifocals or bifocals or anything. They're just like, they're reading glasses. I've never had it with any other glasses. I don't know anybody else who's had it. And loads of people have looked through these ones and they're like, yeah, that's messed up, man. So I need to go back and get them checked and like see what the problem is. Do you know, it's worth getting a check. I had I can't remember what they call it now. There's like an extra scan they can do when they do an eye test for you, isn't there? And they do like a 3D image of the back of your eye. It's ever so interesting. They like scan the inside of your eye at the back and stuff, and they put it up, and they can identify if you've got any kind of like, you know, eye health issues and stuff like that. But it's well worth doing the eye test just for that bit, even if you're not looking at getting glasses. Oh, I don't know if I've said this as well, by the way, but the models I'm sculpting on at the moment, I've got no concepts or anything for this. I'm winging this all as I go. So I'm making it up on the fly. Just got a brief from Adam, what he wants roughly. See, for me, when I first started out, I used to try and draw everything, thinking it was going to be easier. But I find it easier to sculpt than I do to draw. Just because I've spent so much more time on it now. Like, I used to be a really good drawer. And I wouldn't say I'm bad now, but like, I think I'd be an awful lot better if I'd have focused on it and actually, like, you know, if I really dialed in and did spend effort trying to learn to draw, I think I'd be really good at it. But obviously I veered off and took up sculpting, and that kind of overtook as my focus, if you like. Thy Angel. What's that one for then? It's freezing cold. I'm sweating, and I think it's that chili I've eaten. I think it's like heating me up from the inside. Ending of what, mate? What's it the ending for? A hunter and a bunch of background characters. Film project. Are you at like college or uni or something then? Or is this like a paid bit of work you got? Well, I think we'll stick with him like that. Let's go and grab his spear, which is, where's his spear? This one? Oh, fair dues. Like a personal project then with the theme. Is that you trying to scare me, Elston? It very almost worked. I have a issue with ZBrush that every so often the software just completely crashes out, and it gives you no warning at all. It will just suddenly just ping you straight back to the desktop, and it's an absolute nightmare when it happens. And sometimes it happens when I'm in the zone and I'm working away, and it's not anything I've done to cause it. It just happens randomly. And somebody said I should make a button that they can press to remind me to save it, so I made that, and it's like a big fanfare noise, and it makes me jump out of my skin when it happens. And it's normally Elston coming in the chat over on Twitch, prompting me to do it. It's always appreciated. Yeah. I didn't save it last time, did I? No. There you go. Happy now? So yeah, so what I said earlier on about the whole, you know, getting a bit of confidence with sculpting, getting your head in the game, and kind of realising that you can redo work. If it's lost, it's not the end of the world, and all this kind of business. It's really better not to lose, like, you know, 20, 30, 40 minutes of work because you've accidentally suffered a crash. Do you know, I think I'm lucky, mate. I've never gone through anything like that. I'm even when things were rocky as, I've managed to avoid things like panic attacks. The big one I suffer with is I have an issue called auditory processing disorder, where basically if there's a lot of background noise, I have this, like, I can't hear anything. You can be standing in front of me like a foot away talking to me, and like at a normal tone I can hear you, and in a quiet room I'll hear you. But when there's other conversations going on around me, or there's loads of background noise, or like my my kids try and talk to me sometimes when I'm washing up, I've got the sound of the tap going, and I've got something cooking on the hob, and the telly's in the background and stuff, and they can be standing next to me talking to me, and I literally can't hear a word they say. I have to try and like mute out all the noise, like turn the tap off and turn the telly down and stuff, to be able to hear the words coming out of their mouth. I can hear noise, I just can't interpret it as words, and it's frustrating, man. And it's got worse as I've got older. And then we have to go and do like conventions like UK Games Expo, where there's like 80,000 people coming through the door, and I've got to try and talk to all the customers to come up to the stand and stuff like that. It's stressful. It's really stressful. That's the only thing I really have that's a bit of a burden on me in that respect. Yeah, restaurants. We go out as a family sometimes when it's like a family member's birthday, and we'll go and book a table, and it'll be like 10, 15 of us or whatever it is, and I can't even hear the person sat opposite me. And I just have to like zone out and just try and get through the whole meal, kind of thing. It's awful. Not nice. Let's go grab some more of Adam's gear. What's he got? What's he got made? Okay, I think we can work with that. Yeah, same, mate. I've been told for years I've got ADHD. Never got a diagnosis or anything like that, but I go off on tangents all the time. One of the funny things, actually, when I was doing my sculpting course, I was actually writing it and like recording it and whatever. There's times when I'm talking and I'm I'm giving people instruction and guidance and telling them about whatever, and I'm very aware I have this propensity to go off on a tangent and kind of like really dial in on something. And we had this review on the course, basically saying it was good, but I keep saying I'll tell you about that later, and they want to know about it now. And basically the reason I'm saying I'll tell you about it later is because it's not relevant to the... I'm talking about something that is you need to know about, but you don't need to know about it right now. So there's no point in me bogging it down. So we'll come back and we'll address it at a later date, at a later point in time in the course. But if I go off on a tangent there, I'm going to lose people. So I'm very mindful during the course that I've got to kind of like, you know, stick to the script and stay on task. And it's easier said than done. It's fine when I'm doing a pre-recorded bit where it's like, you know, there's a presentation and I've got to kind of put something up and whatever else. But when I'm actually sculpting on the course, what I'm doing is I've got an objective that I've got to complete, and I'm just talking you through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And those are the times when I'm wary about getting bogged down and, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was amusing to me when I got the review saying, you know, stop saying I'll tell you about it later and tell me about it now. Like, if I do that, we'll never finish the course. Do you know what, I think sometimes people are too quick to want to rush in and slap a label on things, just like, you know. And then you get a label and it becomes part of your personality, like a crutch. You need to just be, you've got to be careful that, you know, you're still you. If you get an ADHD diagnosis or whatever it is, you still got to stay you. Yeah, the tapping your feet and stuff. Why are you creaking a bit, mate? Mate, it'd be the pot calling the kettle black if I called you old. I feel like a cranky old git sometimes myself. Oh, my neck. How old are you, Elston? Am I older than you? I want to be one of those old people who walks around the supermarket with a walking stick, like smacking people in the shins and just getting away with it because I'm old. 42, I'm like, hey, you ain't that much younger than me. I was 42 in November. We are the same age. Yes, we should be. I'm not quite sure that's how it works. Don't kids automatically make you older? Makes you feel older. I tell you what, they wear you out, man. Do you know what I've come to the conclusion of as well, randomly? You know what we do in the shadows? You might not be wrong, Elston. You've seen What We Do in the Shadows, haven't you, with Colin Robinson, the energy vampire? I think that's kids. I think kids are Colin Robinsons. Like, my kids will literally come up to me. And the other day I was standing there in the kitchen and I was cooking dinner. Jacob was playing a game on the laptop. Dear man, What We Do in the Shadows, it's a mockumentary about vampires. So you've got these 3 vampires that live in a house. And they're all like proper vampires. And then there's this other vampire who lives with them called Colin Robinson. And he's just like a middle-aged office nerd. And he's an energy vampire, so he feeds off your energy, like negative energies and stuff. So basically his mission in life is to go around and piss people off as much as possible. So like, there's an episode where he sat there and he's got about 5-6 laptops on the bed with like a load of phones around him, and he's just trolling people on the internet, going onto like YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and stuff like this, and just like putting out blatant rage bait posts that people are commenting on and going crazy over, and he's like feeding on the negative energy from you know what they're doing. And there's one where he goes into the office and he walks into the middle of the office full of people. He's got a big electric pencil sharpener there, and he pulls out like a pack of like 80 blunt pencils and proceeds to sharpen them all really loudly in the middle of the office while everyone's like looking at him and grinding their teeth. And as they're doing it, you can see he's kind of like he's getting a rush as he's feeding off all this negative energy. And it's just like while I was cooking dinner, Jacob was calling me over to show me stuff on his game. Willow was calling me because she wanted snacks. And then Jacob was calling me to tell me about something else that was going on. And every single time they speak to me, it's Dad, 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 look at this. Dad, can I have a snack? Dad. And you know, when you're like, the next person that says Dad is going to get their head shoved down the toilet. And it's, you can go from calm and sane and chilled to, you know, psychotic rage almost, just through this like this little grating, niggling kind of Dad, 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 Dad. And I swear, and then they don't eat the dinner that I'm cooking for them, but that's because they've just fed on my energy. they've just drawn it out of me and satiated their hunger. No, the kids are great. They are amazing. It is brilliant having kids. But you've got to lay down like rules with them and stuff. I mean, you've got to have the ground rules and all that kind of stuff. Like they know they can talk to me about anything. They know they can kind of like, you know, always have a play and always like, you know. They talk to me about Jacob's a bugger for it, man. He just comes out and starts talking to me about all sorts of like philosophical meaning of life type stuff. And I'll always try my best to answer his questions, but sometimes he's like, I'm like, dude, just shut up. just go to sleep. I thought it was the one he come out with the other night, man. He comes out with some belters, he does. I should write them down because they are just hilarious sometimes. I can, mate, because I had it about 12 years ago or 11 years ago before we had kids. Although actually, I'll tell a lie. No, I've got a wife. She brings chaos to my life. The chaos bringer. Oops, that was a bit too big. All right, there we go. Right. Do you know, I can't even think of an example of Jacob's philosophical questions, but they're hilarious and frighteningly logical, is the only way I can describe it. Like he'll say something that should be absolutely inane. It should be the most stupid thing you've heard in ages, but when you actually like think about it, what he says makes perfect sense. And then you've got to try and rationalise it. You're actually getting an arcade machine with Time Crisis, mate, because I will be down your house in a heartbeat. Always loved Time Crisis. Yeah, do you know what? There are rules to how people act sociology-wise. However, when people get behind a keyboard and they think they've got the anonymity of the internet, they behave completely differently, don't they? Like they lose like the moral guidelines that society runs on kind of fall by the wayside because of internet anonymity. So it's slippery slope, man. Very good, mate. Very good. So yeah, speaking of recoil guns, a couple of me dad mates around here, we've got they had like PS5s pre-Christmas, and they've gone and got Battlefield 6. They've been going round to each other's houses, having a kind of a couple of beers and playing Battlefield, and I'm bloody awful at it, frankly, because not the kind of game I normally play. But we've been I struggle a little bit as well because of the contrast in the games. Everything's so realistic. It's like you've got all these people running over hills. I'm like, they're shooting at me and I can't see them because they're all in bloody camouflage into the hills that they're running over, which is what your camouflage is supposed to be for. But it's like, it's too realistic almost, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's really kind of like difficult to get your head around. And then you get a sniper rifle and you're trying to shoot some guy who's on a van at the end of a road or whatever it is, and your bullet's got drop on it and wind interference and stuff like that, and you have to account for all this kind of stuff. It's like, I don't want to do that in a game. Do you know what I mean? There's too much, life's too short for that kind of stuff. So yeah, we've been playing these games, but they're it's hard going. But I've got it on Steam now, so we've been playing. Now I still play on the Switch, mate. I play on the Switch as well. I was playing Fortnite the other day. We got it for Jacob, but it turns out I actually really like the game. I thought I was going to hate it, but I actually do like it. And all the Zelda games and stuff on there as well. Can't knock a Switch, mate. Undertale. I don't know that one. Not familiar with Undertale, mate. Oh, I'll tell you what, you know, let me sling you a pop it in the chat. I've got a channel I need you guys to follow. There you go. Give this this channel a follow, guys. This is my other YouTube channel. I say it's mine. All the content on there is pretty much my son's. It's just his gaming stuff. But it's frustrating, right? Because I won't show you the actual videos, right? But you have to actively dodge stuff. Look at the views he's getting on these videos, right? Elston, I'm sure you can appreciate this, mate. So I put my videos up. Sometimes, if I'm lucky, I'll get 300 or 400 views or something like that on a short. Some of my actual proper videos have got a fair number of views on them. You know, a few thousand or something like that. But there's nothing mega. And he's up here playing games and snipping excerpts of the game to make his shorts and stuff, and he's regularly getting like 1,000 views, 1.2, 1.9, 2.1, 1.6, 1.4, 1.4, and it's just crazy because like I don't get that on my main channel where I'm actually deliberately making content. Do you know what I mean? So nuts.